Hello, fiber friends. I have in this package an e-spinner. This is the Fold from Dreaming Robots. It is their newest e-spinner. I backed it through the Kickstarter and it has arrived. And I'm very excited to open this up, and I thought, what a great opportunity to share this excitement with you and also show you what I do to set up an e-spinner, and as I go, I can give you my opinions about this specific one. I want to be very clear up front. Dreaming Robots did not sponsor this video. They didn't. I purchased this myself, but I do have an affiliate link. So if you make any purchases from Dreaming Robots and you'd like to support the Jilly and Eve channel, you'll find that link in the description below this video. And with all of that said, I think it's time to get, I usually say spinning, but cutting, opening, that sounds a little better. Let's get to it. Okay, this is exactly how the package came, minus all of the teeth marks that someone decided to do the unboxing without me, but she was found out. If you missed the announcement, we do have a new cat. Her name is Cece. Hi, Cece. You want to come check it out? Come on. Woo! Let's get this all out of here. Okay. Yes, that is everything. So far we have this. I'm not sure. Oh, it's the Eel Wheel Lazy Kate. This was an additional purchase that I made. See, I don't even remember what color it is. It's going to be in here because I didn't even remember that I got the Lazy Kate. All right, let's see what's in it. Ooh, I do love the colors. I always love the colors. Pretty. We have this like purple and teal and kind of a creamy off-white color. These are bits and bobs. I'm sure they will be important. Cables and plugs. That'll be important. Is this a switch? I'm not sure, but this could be a switch possibly. That would be cool. I guess we'll find out. And then, oh, I did get the teal color. Yay! That's everything in the box. I can certainly say that everything is packaged nicely and securely and safely. So that's always reassuring. I am gonna look at the instruction manual because while I think I like to know what I'm doing, I don't always know what I'm doing. And I want to make sure I don't miss anything. All right, so starting out, we have our parts list, diagram. We have, it is a foot switch. That is so cool. We'll get to it. We'll get there. Okay, so we have our initial setup. We need to spend a few minutes completing the assembly of the Fold. No tools are required, so that's easy. All right, we are going to remove the bottom cover from the base. There is a bottom cover. Oh, I guess I'm going back to the parts instructions. Okay. Bottom cover. That is the bottom cover. How does it come off? Oh! Easier than I thought. Fold the front maiden into position and it will click into place using magnets. All right. So that's got to be the front and the back. We are going to assemble the bobbin and put it on. Here's the flyer. Cool. All right. And I can see the motor there. Woo! It did say that the magnets are strong, don't pinch your fingers. Good advice. I don't want it to be completely monochromatic. I want you to be able to see like a little contrast so you know what I'm doing. So let's go with the sort of white color. screw that on. This feels secure. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall off or untwist itself. I like that because if any of you have ever had the end fall off of your bobbin while it was full of energized yarn, it's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So this feels very secure and it is screwed on there. So that's good. I like that. What is next? This is going to go on here like that. Oh, and it has a very smooth feel to it. There are little bearings that I'm noticing in the ends of the bobbins. That is pretty cool. So if you unscrewed it, or if you take a look when you put it together, there is a little bearing in there. Awesome. I love that. That gives it a very smooth kind of feel. Let's get these things out of the way. We need to get the, let's see, to put the hooks on there and then also get the drive band for the motor. So that's going to be in this package. And then we also have some extra bands. I love this. There's extra parts in case something wears out or goes wrong. That is great to have that as backup. I put the bobbin on backwards. I just realized that. We have the Scotch tension, which is, it's going to slow the bobbin. So the groove for the Scotch tension needs to be on the back, like that. And then the drive band is going to go on the front of the flyer. So this is a flyer-led bobbin-brake type of machine. I think we're gonna have to let this way out though.
So let's just go super, super loose and then we'll build up from there as we need. All right. And then we are going to put this drive band on the front here, and then it's gonna go around this down here and stick right in there.
All my first impressions here are that this feels very nice and smooth and solid, and it's held up with magnets, but it's not jiggly at all. It doesn't feel like anything's gonna unmagnet itself without a little force. So that's exactly what we want. All right, we have hooks that we need to put onto the flyer arms, and I believe these are the hooks. So we're gonna put them on both arms. That'll give us nice balance so it doesn't like get a weird vibration or anything. It says in the note that the hooks should face, one side should face up and the other side should face down to help improve the balance at high speeds. So I am gonna flip these over. If you're spinning and your yarn keeps falling out of the hook and you're like, what is going on? You might wanna flip the hooks to the other side of the flyer arm, and that could help. It is portable and can be battery powered rather than plugged into a wall outlet, but a battery pack is not included. We can operate it with or without the foot switch. I like a foot switch, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Okay, so we want to be sure it starts at 0 and check that the power switch is off, then plug it in, and there's a little light and a little display. Okay, so let's go ahead and put all the cords together, and I have to decide what I'm going to spin. I don't know. I'm sure I can find some fiber around here somewhere. It won't be a problem. I like to use a foot switch because it means that I can start and stop the e-spinner without having to take my hands off of my yarn. When all of this is moving, you don't always want to let go of your yarn to turn it off because you can have it get sucked up in there, and that's frustrating. So having a foot switch is a really great option. This is just like an on-off switch. Yeah. It's just two metal connectors connecting. Probably it's completing a circuit somehow, and then that turns it off or turns it on. So this isn't a foot pedal like you would have on a sewing machine that increases the speed of the machine. This is just an on or off. it doesn't matter like how hard you press on it or any of that. It's just on or off. The speed control is going to be on the machine itself. So that's plugged in. That's plugged in. There's extra brake cord. There's an extra spring. There are lots of little O-rings. There's a little Allen wrench. And there is a cute little control card, it's like a credit card size. I might actually put this in my wallet. More than once I've been out and about and needed a quick little reference. Because I have all my nice Jillian Eve ones hanging on my wheels. Like these. These are in my shop. And they say Jillian Eve. It's like merch, but useful. It does say S and Z on the one side, so if you're not sure, because the button here switches S and Z directions. The way that I like to remember the direction of S and Z when I'm spinning is that I look at the flyer if I'm at a wheel, or I look at the whirl if I'm using a spindle, and I pretend to draw the letter off the top of the thing I'm looking at. So this is going to be the Z direction. See my Z, which means it's going to spin this way. And this would be my S direction. See the S. So that means S goes that way. So if that messes you up, the flyer is going to appear from the spinner's perspective looking at it. The flyer is going to appear to be turning in a clockwise direction for the Z, and it's going to appear to be counterclockwise for S. This is an orifice reducer, so I am going to pop that in there because I don't tend to love that vibrating feeling when the yarn is thinner and it starts knocking around. It can cause a weird vibration, and that way if it's in there, I know where it is, and in theory I won't lose it. In theory. I'm pretty sure I know where things are now. There's that switch. On, off. And the display on here shows how many RPMs I am getting from this machine. E-spinners work a little differently than spinning wheels because when you are at a spinning wheel, your feet are determining the rate of the twist that you get. But because this is a motor, it has a little dial display, and it's going to tell me how many turns I get, how many rotations per minute, because it can't say per treadle because there's no treadle. And this is cool because it means that I can make sure if I'm spinning a yarn at a certain speed of the flyer, I can make sure that I return to that same speed of the flyer when I want to continue spinning for that project, or if I want to spin another yarn like it and I keep good notes in a journal, or by watching my own videos back again, which I've done from time to time to remember what the heck I was doing before. It's great to have a number that you can say, aha, that's the number, put it there, draft the way I usually do, and I know that my yarn's gonna be consistent. And then of course, if I want to go faster, I can turn it up, and if I wanna go slower, I can turn it down. And that depends on what the spinner likes to do and what you're trying to spin. I just grabbed a little of whatever this is. I do want to use a leader for this, so I'll grab something. It matches. So I'm just gonna make a leader by making a loop. So it's about my full arm span plus a few inches, and then I will tie the ends together. The reason I like to do a loop is because then I don't have to worry about it untwisting when I'm getting started in case it's like plied in one direction, but I'm spinning the other direction. Because if it's a loop, it's going to twist back on itself either way and it'll stay secure. So let's put this around like this and like this. And then like this and this. I've been asked a few times what to do if your wheel is just not pulling the fiber onto the bobbin. And if you're still at the point where you are getting a leader on there, it could be that the leader itself is slipping. And if it is, what you can do is put just a little piece of masking tape or something on there to secure it, or you can get it started a little bit, and that'll give it the friction it needs. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. Woo! This is very exciting, but we do need more tension. Okay. Getting my fingers stuck in there. I think we have good tension, but I'm gonna continue adjusting it as I figure out how I'm gonna spin this random piece of floof. Yeah, I do want it to have a little more tension. I'm gonna turn that up a bit. Usually on a spinning wheel, I say that your tension is right if it pulls in but doesn't yank the fiber from your hand, and that you can also, when it's stopped, you can also pull backwards and have it come out of the orifice. In case you need to stop spinning and check something, you might want to do that, but that means that it's not too strong and not too loose. The thing about e-spinners is that because this isn't just on a pulley system with a drive wheel, this is connected to a motor. So sometimes the pull it backwards doesn't work for an e-spinner. That said, it was working for me just now. I can pull it back and get some out, and it is pulling forward and it's working pretty well. So this one might be an exception, but that's not always the case. It feels very smooth. I think it feels smoother than the Nano. I'll get the Nano out in a minute just to put them side by side for a little comparison for anyone who's curious. I don't have the larger size, the 6. I don't have that one. I only have the Nano, so I can't really speak to the other more full-size-ish e-spinner that Dreaming Robots has. But I am enjoying this one very much. I think actually I want to spin a little faster. So I am going to turn up my rate per, whoa. Okay. It turns pretty quick. I was at about 280, I think. And there we go. That feels nice. Oh, what happened? It broke. It's probably on me. Uh-oh. Where's my end? Oh dear. Haha. Are you the end? You are the end. I think I didn't have enough twist in this. I have recently been spinning with my supported spindles, and that has a very different feel. But it also has a, let's see, does this stick somewhere? On the Nano, oh, right there, of course, there's a little magnet. I did not have enough twist going in there. So I'm gonna turn the tension down so that it spends more time in my hands and less, pull to get it on there faster so that it can accumulate more twist before it gets wrapped onto the bobbin. That's better. If I do a little plyback test, that looks like yarn. That's better. It's not as loosey-goosey as it was before. Let's adjust. Move the hook along a little. I think it's time to put it through its paces. I think we're going to need to do something a little faster, so I'm going to turn it up. Not sure how high it can go. How high does it go? 1,550 150 rotations per minute. That's pretty fast. Let's do it. I think I have a little bit more twist than I would like. I don't know. You could tell me what you think. Now I want to try something a little slower. Let's try 150. Now that's very slow. That's going to be better for a thicker yarn. So let's do something really thick. Take the orifice reducer out of there. You can see the difference. That makes it much more narrow. This is better for thinner yarn, and obviously thicker yarn is going to fit in there better. So that switch over from thin to thick is always tricky because your twist still moves around when the yarn's under tension. I'm going to turn this tension up a little, actually. And it can fall apart, but I think we're good. I think we're secure. We've got it on the bobbin. You know, it really could go even thicker. But let's take a look. This was a very low twist yarn. I might have done myself a disservice by going so low twist, but there it is. It's definitely thicker than the highest high speed that I had going on, which is there. So those are different. I said I would do different types of spinning. So let's just real quick pull a rolag or two off of the blending board using the same fiber and see how it goes. Do you know what makes a long draw like that tricky with an e-spinner, or just generally with any spinning wheel? It's about the tension, because you have to be able to hold on to the yarn without it getting pulled onto the bobbin immediately. You need the tension to pull it on when you let when you let it, but you don't want it to yank or, be too strong at the same time. And you don't want to be turning it up and down and up and down and up and down, like turning it up to get it on the bobbin and turning it down to do the draw. This tension band is lovely. When I got it to the right spot, it gave me enough slip that I could hold on while still getting that twist without it getting, sucked away. But then when I wanted it to go on the bobbin, I could just let it feed on, and it went on so smoothly. It didn't like bunch up and get any little pigtails. Some of my spinning wheels even give me pigtails like that. So this is very pleasant. I like a long draw on this. This is really lovely. I'm going to go grab the battery pack because I told you we would do a little off the wall spinning. This one can run on a USB, and that's what this does. So unfortunately, I can't do this. This would need to have the actual like plug it in plug type of plug to be able to do it with a battery pack. So I guess we can't do that today, but heads up, it won't work on like, you know, a cell phone charging kind of battery pack. You need to have a beefier one. I did see on the bottom, it says that you can start it up with a different startup profile, plug it in as normal. Then the dial here says SP1. And so that means it's gonna go up to 1550. If we want to go faster, it can go up to 3000. So to do that, we're going to unplug it again. Whoops, turn it off before you unplug it. Then unplug it. Then we're going to hold down the foot pedal when we plug it back in, and then we can change this. There. Now it's on the second setting, and so then I let that go, and now it'll be on 2. So when I turn it on, we should be able, holy cow! Sounds like a prop plane ready for takeoff. That's very fast. Why would you want it to spin that fast? Depends on what you're spinning. If I was spinning cotton, I might want it to spin that fast because cotton is a very short fiber that needs a very high twist, and I can never get enough twist fast enough to, you know, spin at the pace that I would be if I was spinning wool, which requires less twist. So I think that it's not about getting all the way up to 3000 maybe, it's about getting past 1500 or 1550, but that if you want a gentler adjustment, having it on the 0 to 1550 is going to be the way to go. Because if you've got 0 to 3000 on there, you know, turn it less to change it faster. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Tell me in the comments if that makes sense. I would be totally comfortable doing a project with this if I wanted to do like a bulky or a worsted, a heavy worsted even, and I'd be totally comfortable doing a lace project. This is a really smooth wheel, and I am saying that just having it out of the box, you can tell that the number of times that my yarn came apart. I still would need to get used to what the RPMs actually feel like in terms of how much twist it's building. I don't usually have to worry about that because I know my own spinning wheels so well and what their ratios are that when I sit down and start to treadle, you know, I can feel it. It all comes together. It's like, I don't know, sitting down at a piano and using the pedals or something. If you're a musician, you can sit down and it just comes naturally. You hardly have to think about it. But if you're brand new to something, then you have to really concentrate and think, and it takes a lot more mental energy. So coming to this, where I'm used to not having to use as much mental energy to pay attention to how things are moving, and also having part of the process not under my control because I'm not treadling it, it takes a different kind of adjustment to get used to working with the wheel. And I want to be really clear, that's not a bad thing. When e-spinners first came out, when they were brand new on the market, they actually are older than a lot of people think. But you know what? I have a really old e-spinner. I'm going to pull it out and show you all just to prove that e-spinners are older than you think. But the community was a little bit divided and didn't quite know what to do about e-spinners, because a lot of people were like, well, if you're not treadling, you're not really spinning. But then, you know, people were like, but it's called hand spinning, not foot spinning. And what really is the difference if you're treadling or not treadling? You don't treadle when you use a spindle, and that's the oldest kind of spinning around. So, you know, different people have different perspectives on it. Personally, I think any tool that spins yarn is fun and cool and a joy to explore and experiment and get to know. And I also think that there's a huge accessibility uh, feature with using e-spinners. If any of you don't know, I have a knee that is terrible. I've had a couple surgeries to try and fix it, but my kneecap doesn't stay put. It goes other places. I won't get more detailed than that, but it's full of arthritis. It's painful. And so I do kind of walk with a limp a little bit. And when the weather changes and, you know, even if I eat too much sugar, I can feel it. Like it really starts to hurt. And there are times when I, you know, mess up my knee and it's swollen and I can't treadle. Like, even if I wanted to, it would be like torturing myself. So, why would I do that? So, I really personally love having the option of an e spinner when I just need to sit and chill and maybe put my leg up with an ice pack. And an e-spinner is really perfect for that. They're also great for traveling and for people who don't have a lot of room. Like, this would be great for an apartment, whereas, you know, the bigger stuff, like especially that one right there, um, those take a bit more floor space. And if you have small children, toddlers, curious puppies or kittens, depending on, you know, what your situation is, those kinds of wheels are not always the safest. And this is easy to just put up out of the way, out of reach. And, you know, it has a little bit of a vibe of like an electric sewing machine. So if you sew, you're kind of familiar with what it's like having something plugged in that you know, use to make stuff with. And it has a little on-off switch. I like the tap. That's very satisfying, and I kind of just want to tap it just to hear that little metal tap. Isn't that nice? I really like it. Okay, anyway, those are some of my thoughts about e-spinners overall. I'm gonna have to play with this for a while and then get back to you. I would like to at least fill up a couple bobbins and then try out the Lazy Kate that I got with it. So let me show you my very old e-spinner. Put in the comments, how old do you think my old e-spinner is? What decade do you think it came from? Mark found this for me online because he finds the wildest stuff. If you open the back, you can see those are the belts that connect it to the motor down below, and it is not currently functioning. You'll see the cords are too scary to plug in, but also the motor in there somehow is broken and we need to do a little repair to it. You can tell from the chipped paint and the grooves by the orifice that this has been well loved. Yeah, look at the plug. It needs some help for safety. But this has an interesting treadle because it is the kind that makes the wheel go faster the more you press down on it, like a electric sewing machine would do, and that's pretty interesting. The nameplate on the side says this is a Rouet Presto and it was made in Canada. So I went on a deep dive and looked through a lot of French newspapers from Quebec. I don't speak French until I could find a advertisement for this exact e-spinner. I think this is from either the late 40s or early 1950s. What do you think? Did you know e-spinners are this old? I have had a lot of people ask if I would recommend this spinning wheel e-spinner. Gosh. I've had a lot of people ask if I would recommend it. And I can confidently say yes, I like this one very much. I would probably do this over the Nano unless you specifically needed something that was very small. I think this is a great wheel for any spinner, honestly. You can spin thick stuff, you can spin thin stuff, you can spin very thin stuff. I'm going to try it out with different fibers and see how it goes. I'm going to do a project or two with it just to put it through its full paces. And so that'll be a video eventually at some point that we'll get back around to see if I still like it. Let me know if there's any other specific kinds of things that you'd like to see me try out or demonstrate or what have you. I have had requests for a specific how to spin with an e-spinner. And I think a bunch of that was covered in this video, but if you still would like to see one of those very specific, here's how to spin with an e-spinner kind of videos with the, minus the review stuff, let me know if that's still something you're interested in. I do have several other projects coming up. Busy around here, lots to record, lots to spin, and we all love that. So I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and happy spinning. Hi, Cece. You wanna come check it out? Come on. Woo! What do you think? How does it smell? Do you approve? Does it smell like something you're gonna revisit at 2 in the morning? Oh, you just want the twist eye. That's fun. What's that? What's that? Okay, go get it.